Hello, welcome to this video. In today's video, we're going to look at how to join tests from multiple cells into one other cells. And we're going to use 4 different approaches to achieve this. The first approach we're going to use is the concatenate function, followed by the ampersand approach. Then we'll go to look at the test join function and wrap up this with the flash fill command or icon. Now the flash fill is a pretty new icon under the data tool. So I'm running this training with the 2016 Excel version. If you don't have the 2016 Excel version, you won't see the flash fill command. It wasn't there in the earlier version. Now, these videos and others have been covered in our e-learning platform. So if you haven't watched our video, don't forget to go to www.tabsandiconsacademy.com and you see a lot of other videos on the e-learning platform. And if you enjoyed this video, always remember to give it a thumbs up and encourage us. Now we'll go to the summary of the information we're going to use. Now we have surname, first name, and other names. Then we are required to join the 3 names into one cell under full name. Now we're given a note that the names should be written in lowercase. Now that is test conversion. We already have a video that covered that in our previous editions. So the first approach we're going to use is the concatenate function. So we'll go to the sheet. Now the same information will be reproduced here. Now we're looking at the function called concatenate. What does this function do? The concatenate function basically joins tests from multiple cells into one other cell. And the syntax is very easy. You take concatenate. T1 here is, I'm saying, the first test. After the first test, which is T1, you take a comma and then you include a delimiter before you pick the next test. Now, a delimiter is simply a common separator between words in a cell. So if you have John is coming, between John and is, there's a space. So a space becomes a delimiter. Now, you just do that until you get to the last one. I always say don't bother about this syntaxes because as you type in a cell, the Excel will naturally be giving you this syntaxes. So I come here and I say equal to concatenate. Now, this is the function we're talking about. It's asking me for test 1. Now, what's my test 1? It's Lawrence. I'm going to pick the name Lawrence. Now, I take my comma. The next is asking me for test 2. Now, I know before test 2, I will need a separator, which is a space. So I'm going to put a space, and that's why I said a delimiter. Now, how do we put a space in a cell? I open a quote, hit my space bar, and close my quote. I've inserted a space there. And I take a comma. The next thing is test 3, because the test 2 is a space. So test 3 is certainly this. And I take my comma. After that, I need a space also. So I take this, press a space, and take this. And then I take a comma, and I take my final test. That's all I need. I just hit my enter key, and I'm done. Now, remember, we're told that this should be in lowercase. Now, everything I've just made here is in uppercase. So how do I convert this to lowercase? Now, lowercase is actually a proper case because names are noun. So I'm going to use a function called proper. Now, what proper does is to convert all characters in a text from uppercase to lowercase, leaving the first character as uppercase. So if I have a case like this, let me say this is hotel, this is uppercase, and I want to convert it, I can say proper. I just take this and I hit my enter key because it's converted or leaving the first character. That's exactly what I need. So I'm going to alter this, my formula, a little bit to come to the back here and say equal to proper. That's what I need, and I hit my enter key. So this is all I need. Now, having done this, I just drag down and my work is done. So this is converting everything from different cells into one cell and also making them lowercase, that is proper case because they are now. Now, I move straight to the next one called the ampersand. Now, the ampersand is going to achieve the same thing except that the logic syntax is slightly different. Now, the logic syntax is T1 and, remember the other one I used comma, but I'm saying and, the delimiter and till I cover all. Now, the ampersand, this is E here, I gotta use that, okay. The ampersand is actually not a function, so I try to be careful not to use the word function. The ampersand simply is the and function, that's the ampersand, and that's exactly what we're going to use. So I come here and I say equal to, remember we are converting it to lowercase, that's proper case, so I can start straight with proper. I take proper, and then I go to my ampersand, which is T1, which is the first test. This is the first test, and I take and I include my space, and I take and I take the next one and a space again and this. Now I hit my enter key, and this is what I'm looking for, so I just drag down and I'm done using the ampersand command. Now the next one I'm going to use is the test join. Remember, the concatenate and the ampersand have achieved the same purpose, and we are using another approach called the test join. Now the test join is a function that actually joins test. And look at the, oh, I guess this is not for this, test join. Here, test join. Now the test join, what it does basically is to take the first character, the first delimiter. So you put a delimiter first. I guess this one strongly put there. So what happens first is to take a delimiter, you take a comma, and then the next one you take a comma, and you continue that way, T1, T2, until you exhaust all the various cells. So I come here and I say equal to test join, equal to, now I guess test join was introduced either 2013 or 2016, so if you have an earlier version, you will not see test join. So I take my test join. The first thing is asking me here is a delimiter. That means what do I want to be the separator between the words that I intend to join. And my separator is a space. So we already learned how to include a space. I take my quote, I hit my space bar, I take my quote. Now the next thing is, do I want to ignore empty spaces? I just said if there are empty spaces, ignore. And it begins to ask me for the test. So here I just select all the tests, one after the other, separated by a comma. I take this, I separate with a comma. I take the next one, I separate a comma, and I take the last one. Now, we forgot something to include our proper. So if I don't want to turn it to upper to lowercase, this is what I will do. But now I need to put proper here. I need to put proper so that I can meet the requirement of the question. I haven't done this. All I need is to drag down. Now I have done this. We are going to achieve this same purpose using another approach, which is the flash field. Now, the flash field is an icon that is under the data tab. If you click on the data tab, you look to your right, you will see a group called the data tools. On top of it, you have the flash field. This is the flash field. Now, the shortcut for the flash field, if you put your cursor there, you will see Ctrl E. Now, how does the flash field work? Type the first name the way you actually want it. So at this point, you've got to be very careful, because if you make a mistake typing the first name, that mistake will extend to every other cell. So I'm going to say Lawrence. I should just look at my spelling to be sure it's correct. I'm typing in lowercase because that's the way I want my names. I take a space, I take a space, and I type Chuku. Now, having done, I check the spellings to be sure they are correct. If I've made any error in one of the names, it's going to spill all through. So place my cursor there. I hold down my Control key and I press letter E, or I come here and I click flash field. So I'm going to hold down my Control key and press letter E. Now this is done. You can see this appears quite easy. There are no formula linked to it. It's just type in the first one and be sure that everything is written along with the spelling that are there, and you take your Control E. Control E is the same thing as clicking on the icon called flash field. Now this is how to address this. We've mentioned every other. We've done the concatenate, the ampersand, the test join, and the flash field command. Thank you very much for listening. In other videos, we're going to see a lot